Hello, everybody. This is Godslayer428, and at the moment we are playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This is literally just another showcase or edition of games that I take interest in or that I plan on playing if anybody requests it, or sometime down the line when it comes time to play this and add a series to my channel. The Witcher 3. It's a very good game. I love it. I love The Witcher. I have the audiobooks of The Witcher. I do want to get the hard copies. I've actually watched the show, and I have the first and second game. Now I've played part of one, not too far in, and the beginning of two as well, but I've never actually got to complete the games. As for the stories, I've pretty much was it the first book complete, and the beginning of the second one, pretty much whatever happened in the show, and then some. Because I could literally tell you everything was happening in the show before it did, and I kind of did that, so I don't know if I annoyed my family or not with that, but oh well, it is what it is. So with this being said, this is, just gonna show a little bit about, The Witcher, about how I play, about what I have, and what I might have done to get it or get there, and what we might see down the line, and when it comes time to, start this all over again from the beginning, I'm definitely down and ready to do it. So, here we go. I'll let you guys watch the intro.
I see you gather before me. Hungry, terrified, clutching your babes to your breast. Emperor Emir has marched his legions into our lands, laid siege to every fortress from here to the Blue Mountains. Rabid and ravenous, he bites and bites away. Men of the North, you stand at the precipice. Your kings have failed you, so now you turn to the gods. And yet you do not plead. You do not kneel to dust your heads with ash. Instead you wail, why have the gods forsaken us? We must look into the trials we failed long ago. In a time past, our world intertwined with another through an upheaval scholars call the conjunction of the spheres. The gods allowed unholy forces to slip into our domain. The offspring of that cataclysm was the nefarious force called magic. Yet we did not banish it, instead studying the vile arcane for our own power and wealth. And the monsters at our door, the unholy relics of this conjunction. The trolls, the corpse eaters, the werewolves. Did we raise our swords against them? Or have we laid this burden on others? On so-called witches. Stray children taught the ways of foul sorcery, their bodies mutated through blasphemous ritual. Sent to fight monsters, though they could not distinguish good from evil. The flicker of humanity, long extinguished within them. Yes, their numbers have dwindled through the years, but a few still roam our lands, offering their bloody work for coin. To this day, they shame us with their very existence. The North bleeds, flogged by war. The battles are the gods' whip, chastisement for our sins. And let us not forget the terrors, the scourges from beyond our world. The wild hunt rides the sky with every full moon. The Dark Raiders abduct our children into lands unknown. Some say they herald a second conjunction. Can we chart a course back into the light? Will we find the strength to banish the mages from our kingdoms? Unite around the warmth of the eternal fire. Nigh is the time of the sword and axe. None will fight this war in our stead. Nigh is the time of madness and disdain.
So there you have it. That is the opening video. So as you can see here, I actually have the DLCs, and they are installed. I have the Hearts of Stone and the Blood and Wine. And when you get the DLCs and install them, if you install them individually, your background entirely will... The original background doesn't look anything like this. This is the Blood and Wine background, and I don't think it can change unless you uninstall it. So ever since I've installed Blood and Wine, this has been my background ever since. I don't mind it, but, you know, honestly, I can't even remember... I never saw the Heart of Stone one, and I can't even remember the first one, what the background looked like. So I've actually played the game over 3 times now, and I still love it. I New Game Plus it 2 times in a row. I've got a character maxed out, which is what I'm about to show you now. So the last thing I remember, I was in Toussaint. I have to finish the Toussaint storyline, but I didn't want to do it yet because I have other missions left in Skellige, so I went back to Skellige. So I think I have missions around some of the islands, and then, of course, a bunch of question marks of places I have yet to visit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to complete all the missions, and any place that I haven't visited that's in the water, I'm not going to, because it's literally just floating treasure chests in the water, and it's just a pain. I've done it already before. I've found every single item on the map, on every single map in this game, before I restarted it for the New Game Plus. So yeah, I've done it before, and I don't think I need to do it again. So, let's see. For those who don't know, this is The Witcher, and this is Geralt, aka the White Wolf, aka the Butcher of Blaviken, aka Geralt of Rivia, aka Sir Ravix of Fullhorn. So if if you're someone who already does know about this and has either seen the show or read the books or played the previous games, you know a decent number of those names and how he's come across and got those names. So once you check the billboard, it reveals places and things on the map, and also you can pick them up. They're just letters and, of course, potentially a contract or a job. So it gives you little undiscovered locations, of course, jobs, notes, quests such as. This is one of the race starting locations, which I plan on doing, but I'm not going to do it now. So for now, we're going to head in a different direction. So this is Skellige. Sorry about that. Let's see, I wanted to go to the map. Alright, so as you can see, yeah, I'm a level 100. I plan on New Game Plusing this one more time because not every item in the game that I find is actually found at 100, so I wanted to restart it one more time and make it what I like to call a perfect run, where I'm 100% comfortable with every decision I made. The outcomes is exactly what I wanted. I don't fail any quests, because like if you proceed past a certain point without doing certain quests, they'll get failed and you can't go back and do them. And I wanted to do a run where I made all the choices that I prefer to my liking. I completed every quest instead of leaving some behind and then not being able to do them. So I'm trying to do what I call a perfect run, like I said. So hence why I need to do all of the missions. Now I don't need to get all these. Anything that's in the water, it's something like this. I'm not even going to bother getting it. Even these ones on the little islands, I'm not going to bother. Anything that's on a main island, I will discover, I will go find, and I will go, dig it up, whatever I have to do. Anything that's on the main islands, I have no issue doing it, but I'm not getting back in the water. I'm not having it. No thanks. It's too tedious. And that little rowboat being attacked by a manner of creatures that swim or fly over the water or swim in the water, tearing your boat up. I don't think so. I'm good. Okay, so let me see. Let me zoom in. Yeah. So this is our Skellige. The whole map is Skellige. It's kind of like, they're kind of like Vikings, these people, in a way. Extremely similar. I don't know if that's the insinuation at this time, and I could understand it. Their island, they raid ships, they all live on these islands, they all fight amongst each other. There's a king of kings of all of them, to bring them together, etc. It's very similar. Even some of their gods are exactly the same or similar. So it's really kind of cool and interesting when I first thought of that, like how similar it is, or if it is the same. So the Skellige Isles, we have Velen, which is at the moment because of war considered no man's land, and then Novigrad. But when you zoom in the map, they're pretty much together, just one's above the other. You can just go to either one of them. White Orchard is basically the tutorial area where you start in the game, hence why its suggested level is level 1. And the Royal Palace of Vizima, or the Nilfgaardians' capital, and where it come from. I'm not a fan of the Nilfgaards, but yeah, it is what it is. And then in Kaer Morhen, the home of the School of the Wolf for the Witchers. Geralt's home. And then the Duchy of Toussaint, my hands down absolute favorite place to be. So for this video, I'm probably going to show you guys Toussaint. Wander around because that's where I'm at, things I have to do, what I'm going to do, and what I might have, the armors and sets, because yeah, I got to talk about the armor sets too. I love the original armor that you start the game with. The way it looks, it's so nice. Like that's the cover armor, whatever you want to call it. That armor is like my favorite, aesthetic wise. The way it looks is my favorite. I mean, there are other good looking armors, but some armors also don't look so good, but they have really great effects, and that's why I had to change up eventually. But I got so happy and hype at the same, like just all around, because I found the armor set, but the upgraded version. So I'm hoping New Gaming one more time I'll find a level 100 version, and I can be perfect with that. So here, let's Novigrad. Another good place to be, Novigrad. It's a good town. Love the town. It's I guess for a little while where a base of operations is for you at. This is what it is. This is technically right here in Novigrad. And I guess you could say Oxenford technically as well is a part of it, but it's way off the side. It's its own little thing-ish. But since it's kind of city, it is kind of part of it. And then down here would be, Velen, no man's land. Plagued by war and death and monsters. Which, as you can see, I've already cleared out every single aspect of it before I left. That's generally what I do. It's my goal was to literally, before I leave a place, most of the time, not all the time, sometimes I don't do it because sometimes I've already done it or it's too tedious or it's just not necessary, it's not worth it. Clear entire place before I move on to the next. Sometimes I'll come back and do the clearing later after I go through the main missions and stuff. So, good place to be in Heart of Stone. Great, they're all around great DLCs. Great storyline. The overall main story is a great storyline. The game is good even without the DLCs. It's one of my favorite storylines and game series and said books, because the book is great too. The show so far, being closer to the book than how they went. Yeah, details are different from the game and the book and the show itself, but overall they're pretty good. Any version of them, I enjoy it all. Even Henry Cavill playing as Geralt, I wasn't sure about that, but it's working pretty good in my opinion. I mean, I don't think they can change it now. He's got to stay Geralt. If they change it, I don't know if I want to stick to it. At first, I was like, he can't do it. He's Superman, but it worked out. He played a pretty bad A Geralt. You know what I'm saying? He's a badass. So, it was pretty good. I like the show. Alright, so we're going to go back to the world map. And even though we have a mission there, because technically speaking, I could just... Give me one moment. Not what I wanted to show you just yet. Quest is what I wanted to show you. I could just simply... there's the race. That's a secondary mission. The race is considered secondary. I do have the main story in Toussaint. And that is actually a glitch mission. I found the treasure, but it never completed the quest for me. But seeing how as I've already done it once in the first playthrough, I was just like, you know what? It is what it is. I already got the treasure from it. See, it says I even read the document I found and everything. Find Lost Ranch, I found it all. I was like, you know what? Oh well, forget it. Just forget it. And I think this playthrough I didn't... Yeah, I didn't mess up on anything, so that's good. Ah, my ultimate character. The extra system they add for when you find it in the DLC is amazingly helpful. I recommend to any newbie player, if you have issues with health loss or not healing fast enough or over time, definitely go for Gourmet. I have a friend who started this game, and that's exactly what I told them to get, because they're constantly eating their food. Like, just every time she gets into a fight, she just eating up all her food and is almost doing nothing because it lasts like 3 seconds. With this, anything you eat will last 20 minutes at a time and heal at whatever rate it naturally does. That because instead of having multiple things like signs of power, it's not all that necessary. So I don't mind having one infinitely, especially the one that I use the most, which would normally be Quen, but I switch it up every now and then depending on what I have to do, or what I have to fight. And of course, every game, it's a burden in every game. Your carry weight having not enough, it is irritating, the worst thing ever. So when I first started, this was one of the first things I purchased with my, points. The strong back, which came in handy in the jump. But luckily, your horse upgrading the saddlebags, excuse me, increases your carry weight as well. So hence why now I'm sitting on a hefty good 230, but my average weight that I'm always at generally is roughly 125 with everything that I normally have and carry on me. And on top of that, I have created the maximum versions of mutagens that I can to increase my power as high as it can go, and set it up to my specifications to help me when I play. Now I could switch some of these reds over here to get more attack power, but I don't know, I found that it's easier like to have more of the gold. I wanted more of the gold, and that's why I moved the red. I could just move gold over to the green side, but then that's less health too. I don't really need all that health, but it's helpful sometimes. Okay, so we have to actually hit the signpost to actually fast travel. That's Apothecary. She's just selling herbs on it. So, yeah, I have the stronger version of the starter armor. I'll tell you a little bit about that a little bit later, very shortly, after we go where we want to be. This is an amazing game, and honestly, I really do want to go back and play the first and second one. I do have them, I own them, but I don't actually have my own personal PC to operate them well enough right now. So I'll have to build one, and I already have the idea of what I'm going to do for that too. But that'll be for another time down the line. I'm hoping if they make another one, which probably won't be for a long while, because up next is Cyberpunk, which I will be streaming when that comes out, roughly in 100 days or so. Maybe 90 or so days, probably like 90, somewhere between 95 and 97, I'm guessing. Because Avengers will be out in 90 days, which is also another game that I will be playing and streaming when it comes out. And then Ghost of Tsushima, which I will also put on my channel when it comes out. And within 11 days, Last of Us Part 2. Now, for anybody who feels that, yeah, they're not interested because I heard the story was leaked, I have no idea. I know nothing about it. I don't want to know anything about it because I'm going to play it. So, I'm sorry for those who's been spoiled for. I feel bad for you because I love the story of the first one so much. I was like, in order to make up my mind, I went back and actually played it all through. Because I watched others play it, and I've seen parts here and there, and I knew about the storyline, but I never personally played it. So after I personally played it, I made up my mind. I was no longer on the fence. I was like, I'm pre-ordering Last of Us 2, and I did. I couldn't help it. Okay, so this is my home. I believe it's called Corvino Bianco or something like that. Let me make sure. Corvo Bianco. Yeah, vineyard. So it's a vineyard. It was gifted to me as part of my reward for taking on a quest from the Queen, or the Duchess of Toussaint. It is fully upgraded. I have every feature available, including a secret lab back here to either refill my bombs, give me extra, or help me break down mutagens to make new ones, I believe it does. Let's check and make sure. Let's hit use. Yeah, no, it helps me break them down to their lesser states. Okay, so that's what it does. Which I don't need to do, because my mutagens, I'm pretty much good on everything. So I'm pretty much hoarding every single mutagen ever. Anything that I hunt. And just hold on to it in case I really do need something down the line. I even have my own wine named after me. And yes, you get to choose the name, but I'm not going to reveal that. I'll let whoever, if you've never played this, you plan on doing it, I'm not going to spoil that. I'll let you figure it out for yourself. So I have the armors actually showcased here. So that is the starting armor right here. Okay. This is the, I believe, these are the same exact armor, just different. This one's a lower tier, this one's the higher tier. It has more features to it, with metal plating and armor on it. I believe this is the wolf? No. Not feline. Manticore. This is the Manticore. Yeah. That's the armor that you see at the loading screen on the Blood and Wine once you change it to it. This one is the one particular from the loading screen, but the upgraded one is just got a little more added to it, so it's not exactly what you see on the loading screen. Certain details of it. For the most part, it is the same armor, just higher level. And this is the wolf. Yep, definitely the wolf. And then this is my favorite outfit. Yeah, my favorite outfit I've ever had to wear in this game. That was not a, Witcher armor. Sorry, walking all over the place. Hung up a couple of favorite swords and whatnot. Paintings all around. Some more paintings and swords. I believe that is the basic sword that you start with, and that's the basic silver sword that you start with. And these are two steel swords, two vampire steel swords, as in two different vampire clans. One is actually red and one's actually black. They have the same look. They're part of their own different sets, but I decided to put them together since they, technically speaking, were of no use to me anymore because they're from the last playthrough, so they're actually considered weak compared to what I have. And that's a picture of Cirilla in a state in which she doesn't seem to be enjoying a dress. Okay, so I guess you can say he tends to my home for me and anything I need for the property of this guy. Sorry about the character just walking all around my controller. I need to get a new one. Alright, and this is the kitchen. With a wonderful cook. Yes, her name is Marlene. I'm not going to talk to her. I can, though, if I want to. She's a very nice lady. Upstairs, I believe, is his room, or a guest room, maybe, I don't know. And this is my room. Decorated with a few of my more favorite paintings, and of course, trophies. I have the fighting trophy. I have the race trophy. And then I have the Gwent trophy, which I'm kind of most proud of, because I detested the card game at first. I wanted nothing to do with it the first playthrough. Then I realized I told myself when I'm done I beat the game, I'll go back and get all the cards. I got to a certain point in the story. I left at a certain point in the story without actually playing any of the games because it was a party. There was a Gwent game going on, and I didn't play, and I left, and it said I failed to collect all the Gwent cards. So basically, you have to pick up those cards at the party. And I was like, well, next time I'm definitely going to do it. So I did, and it started slow for me, but then I started to pick it up, and it's a really fun game. They do have an online version of it, which I'm not fond of, because then you have to go pay for the little end of packs and I think you get a chance of getting certain cards, which I don't like that. Honestly, I'd rather buy the real decks the actual decks to have in person for real, so I can play with friends and family instead of that virtual thing. I don't want to do that. Especially, I felt literally like, wow, like I thought I could collect the decks in the game and then go there and use my deck, but no, it's not like that, sadly, because I spent all this time finding every single card, which took me a while because some of them were just at random little vendors here and there in the world, so it took me forever to find the very last card. Oh, and on top of that, winning them from these players, so some are good, some NPCs are actually really good at it. But it's a pretty fun game. Pretty fun. And that's my shield I chose for the tournaments here. And that's the chest where I store all of my extra armors and things I'm probably... It's just more like a memento chest, basically. Probably never going to use again, though. There are some things that are at my level, though, that I could use. Okay, and last but not least, Geralt's armor that he's wearing, compared to the one that you saw hanging from the original beginning of the game. It's the same exact features, except for the pants. I do have the full set, but I switched up because when you craft the Witcher School armor, the Grandmaster versions, you unlock special skills. And I needed the special skills from the Wolf one, but I preferred the look of the Legendary Viper armor. I prefer the look of this, and of course its level and its resistance. So yeah, I put the Legendary Viper on for the top half, the gloves and the jacket, so it looks the same, and then the boots and the leggings are the Wolf, and of course the sword, the steel sword, is also Wolf. So all three of those, it gives me, I can apply 3 different oils, and on top of that, because of my perks, my oils are actually permanent. So I can have 3 oils on each blade that permanently stay there. I no longer have to worry about them draining down. So that's like the best thing ever. It's a crossbow, the best, the highest damage one you can get. And I actually have an alternate vest with a different ability on it. It deflects arrows. So yeah. And the other one I have, I believe, does 30% portion of the damage done to me back at the attacker. So I wear that one normally. And then there's this special sword that actually will, the level of it will increase as you use it. Every time you get maxed out with 10 points, and then you kill somebody with this, it's like a critical meter. When you kill somebody with it, it raises up by 2. So for this one, I got it at level 49, and I carried it with me all the way through each playthrough until I maxed it out. So this, technically speaking, the stats are at level 100 right now. I did, however, second playthrough, get another one, because, you know, it's the same quest and they pop back up. And it was already at a higher level. It just needed like 30 points just to get it maxed out. So I kept it, just threw it in my chest. These are rune stones. They will help you upgrade armors, or you can use them to make even better rune abilities. So yeah, it's pretty nice. And since I'm in Toussaint, and it is called Blood and Wine, if you didn't guess, vampires, hence why I have black blood on. I pretty much keep it on now because I spend a lot of time in Toussaint, and you know, you're gonna run into vampires quite often in Toussaint. So especially if you're doing quest, most of the quest, or the little, when you scamper across something, you might end up finding a Bruxa or some form of a vampire or something like that, or a Catacan, excuse me. And there's a few other kinds. Of course, a little food to heal you, you know, cross for your 20 minutes. A decantation, a decoction. Geralt's maximum vitality, so this is a vitality one, which I don't really need. And on top of that, I get random decoctions, like up to 3 or so. So there's that too. And I believe this one was, yeah, restores your health immediately and fully, in case I do get into severe trouble in any of the fights that I have to encounter. Because even though I'm a level 100, which is the max level, there's got to be parts of the storyline where something's strong, a little stronger than you, even if it's by 5 levels. They want something to be a little stronger than you, no matter what. So they bump up the creatures and things levels by a bit. I've only seen up to 105. So, and I haven't seen anything else question mark in the world, because, you know, question mark is this way above your level and it completing one shot. But I haven't seen anything like of the sort whatsoever. So, you know, it is what it is, right? And yes, that's actually my money. legitly, just from playing the game over and over again, I don't really spend money. So anything I make from a contract or anything I find, it just sits there because I rarely spend it. The only thing I spent it on, basically the only thing I spend money on is there's a storyline that actually requires me to spend money and I can't avoid it, or like my own house. I do not mind spending heavy amounts of coin on my own property and things as such that will benefit me down the line. So, armor, weapons, when you're constantly finding new armor weapons as you play through the game, there's no point in buying any of it. Personally, that's how I feel about it. There's no point. But my only goal was to find the blueprints for this stuff and then craft it. So, that's also another time I spend my money. And of course, repairing armor and weapons too sometimes if I don't actually have tools. Or I'll buy the tools. Other than that, I do not spend a lot of money. And they are decent storylines that can give you hefty coin in the end. Or if you come across a nice, bountiful treasure chest. Alright, well. Maybe next time we'll do some missions, or maybe the next time I do load a video, it will be the start of a new playthrough. From the beginning of the game to the very end, so we get to see the storyline and all. Hey, I might even do it on the hardest mode, because honestly there's a trophy for that and I kind of want to get it. So till next time, I'm a Witcher. Look at the sky, it's so nice. Okay, have a good one.